This time I'm not starting grain yet, till I know. Oh, yeah, it seems better now, Beena. Seems better now.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe we are live. We are live, Beena. We are live.
Hello and welcome to
Yes, we are.
Moreness-Culture. Good morning, sir.
Oh, good morning, Beena. Good morning. We had some technical difficulties for whatever reason.
Yes,
The
yes.
live stream, it just wouldn't stream. It just would not go. So, like, all right, we'll just do it again. And according to Einstein, Beena and I are quite mad. Yes, because, Einstein said you do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. You're crazy, you're mad. But that's exactly what we did. We did the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, and we got a different result. So sorry, Einstein, but you were completely wrong on this. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
I suppose that Einstein would say, yeah, but you were expecting a different result, not the same result. All right, fair enough then. Okay. Right, Bina? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Right, let's get going on TikTok
Okay.
as well. So hello,
Yes.
Bina. Hello,
While,
Bina. Happy to have you here. Happy to
yes.
have you
While,
here. Wow.
thank
Most,
you.
most
Thank you. While
wonderful.
Syl is busy doing all the
Most
sharing,
wonderful.
just let's
Yeah.
say welcome to all the people who will join us live and will watch us recorded later on YouTube, Substack, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the platforms, all the at least known, of course, famous platforms.
Yeah.
You can find us and you can watch the recorded videos there. It has a lot of substance in it, uh, not just like quick fixes, like how to fix your relationship or how to just deal with narcissists. Yes, it is going to cover all these things, but it will give you more than just
Yeah.
dealing with narcissist or getting out, how to get out of that abusive relationship. It will actually give
Yeah.
you this ability to understand that in the first, why you get into this relationship. Second thing, why that person is like that. So now once you know the in and out of it, about you, of course, and also the other person, then the current situation, with all these, you will have tools to deal
Yeah.
with that particular situation. You will not have tools like quick fixes. You will have customized tools for your personal situation. And why you will have that? Because you are going to create all those tools for yourself from Way of Impeccability. You will come here and you will have those tools and you are going to customize them according to your situation so
Yeah.
you can deal with
Yeah.
those situations. Not only just deal with that situation, but also to prevent that next time it is not going to happen in your life. And also on top of that, to elevate your own awareness so you can prevent, you can survive, and you can thrive. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
something I was thinking about, that how much of our lifetime we spent on fixing things.
Yes.
Maintenance itself is a human. I
Yeah.
personally
Yeah.
feel that it's a very uh, uh, for me it's a very sad dilemma of being human, that we have to spend majority of our time and energy on just maintaining ourselves. Really, it needs a
Exactly.
lot of maintenance,
Right.
including eating. We just made it fun for ourselves, but it's actually a maintenance, part of
Yeah.
maintenance. Cleaning ourselves, be presentable, also comes into
Right.
maintenance. Sleeping is
But
also
but we
part
could
of
be
maintenance.
evolving in all that time anyway.
Yes, and sleeping is also part of maintenance. Of
Yeah.
course, we have creating a space for yourself where you can actually physically be safe from weathers and from other things is also
Right.
part of your
Right. But
maintenance.
what do you want to be doing instead, Bina?
Okay, I want to, if I will not have all these things, so then I will have pure 24 hours a day to have fun, to learn, to grow,
Yeah.
to evolve.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It takes a lot of time and energy. And okay, this is
It
very
does. It
interesting.
does.
This is very interesting that we have done and actually transformed our maintenance time or maintenance activity into fun. Like, oh, I enjoy my food. Food supposed to be
Yeah.
just give, it's a fuel
Yeah.
and it was providing you energy whenever it needs, not necessarily 3 times a day. It could be 7 times a day, or it could be just 1 time a day, or maybe two times in once in a couple of days or a week. It depends on how
Yeah.
much energy we
Yeah.
need. But very cleverly, human being transform this activity into fun and joy and happiness. But we just stop there. We don't
That's
make it
moreness. We can
further.
transform everything into joy
Exactly,
when we start
exactly.
to
The way we
connect and
did,
pay attention to the moreness.
exactly.
Yeah.
The way we transform our usual maintenance activities into fun and joy, but we don't do this for other things. We can have
Right.
fun and joy in everything. We can transform every activity into this, but we don't do
Yes.
that. Oh, now I was
Yes.
taking, okay, hot shower, so it was really okay. I was taking cold shower, it was so soothing for me. I was taking this, and these are all just part of your maintenance. Just pay attention. What you were doing is trying to clean yourself because,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
humans are not made of light, so they have to clean themselves. It's a part of maintenance, but we just glorified it. We actually just say that, okay, oh, now
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
fun, it's joy, it's fun. And we do enjoy. When we can enjoy the cleaning process, why not we enjoy the house cleaning process? Why not we why can't we enjoy other things also? Our jobs, really maintain daily chores and jobs and everything. This is
Yeah.
the limited
It's a
thinking.
skill to find the moreness in everything. We need to learn
But
that skill.
exactly, this is the limited thinking we all are living in mostly. That, oh yes, this is my job and this is my fun. Why I was doing
Yeah.
this job, 9 to 5 job is a problem. It's a horrible thing for me, to me, that okay, yes, I'm a slave and I'm doing this because I have to provide food to myself and my family and all this.
Yeah.
Why I'm doing something to do some other job. Okay, doing a job to do the other job, to fulfill the other job. This is how our whole life is.
Yeah.
The only thing, if you really think of like, okay, yes, what is really fun? That's why people do pay attention to and glorify the art, music, poetry.
Yeah. Yeah.
These are all the awareness things.
Brilliant.
These all
Brilliant,
falls
Beena.
into awareness work
Brilliant.
because
Brilliant. All
you are evolving yourself.
yes, exactly. And
Okay.
that's the point of everything.
Exactly.
Right, Beena?
Yes.
Right, Beena?
Yes.
We're ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
We're continuing with our reading of the Carlos Castaneda books. We're on book 2, and we have been involved uh, in doing this capital R reading to get the extra, the moreness, right, out of
Yes.
Carlos and Don Juan's discussion and sharing. Don Juan is sharing to Carlos about will. Yeah. Very, very important here, right? And so we've been
Yes.
reading about it and we've had wonderful long discussions. I mean, we've probably done three three shows already, uh, hour long each pretty much on will. And we still not finished, right? There's a lot more to do. Before we get going, I want to say hi to all the TikTokers. I do click and say hi over there. I want somebody, just one person, to tell me that you can actually hear me while I'm live. I know when I look at the recording afterwards, I see the video and I see the sound, but I don't know during the live. So please, somebody leave me a comment there and let me know if you can hear me. I don't know if people are just ignoring my request or not, but please, say hello. I mean, I'll say hi to all of you. I got Lacucius and George Black and Ashton Bigger, Paco, user with a long number, Cricket Chronicles with Abdul, Afifi, and Box and Amber J. I love it. I love it that you guys are all here. It's just most wonderful. And then we have on let's see. Instagram. Thanks, love. I think it's thanks, love, and J.K. Shire and digital deals, and yeah, everything. So well, yeah. Digital Deals said hello there, left a little emoji, I don't know, scratching its head or something. But anyway, Digital Deals, we're getting going now, and we are doing this capital R reading of Carlos Castaneda's works. And the capital R reading means that we read We read the layers, we look at the moreness, we look at the implications. For instance, Don Juan was saying something to Carlos that is for Carlos specifically, not for us. Right? So he presents things to leverage Carlos, right? He's got purpose-driven communications when it comes to Carlos. But that's the moreness, right? If you're just reading, you go, oh, Don Juan is talking to us. No, he's talking to Carlos. You have to keep things in context. So we're looking at the depth and the layers. It's a sophisticated reading of this. Well, we do it with any book, but we happen to be on this book. All right, so let's continue. We're reading here about will, right? So I'll read and you jump in, right? There's quite a lot here that Don Juan is saying. Okay. By the time, this is where we left off yesterday. I'll repeat the quote because it's a very important one. By the time knowledge becomes a frightening affair, the person also realizes that death is the irreplaceable partner that sits next to them on the mat. Every bit of knowledge that becomes power has death as its central force. Death lends the ultimate touch, and whatever is touched by death indeed becomes power. A person who follows the paths of sorcery is confronted with imminent annihilation every turn of the way, and unavoidably they become keenly aware of their death. Without the awareness of death, they would be only an ordinary person involved in ordinary acts. They would lack the necessary potency, the necessary concentration that transforms one's ordinary time on earth into magical power. Moreness, 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 moreness. Thus, to be a spirit warrior, a person has to be, first of all, and rightfully so, keenly aware of their own death. But to be concerned with death would force any one of us to focus on the self, and that would be debilitating. So the next thing one needs to be a spirit warrior is detachment. The idea of imminent death, instead of becoming an obsession, becomes an indifference. I want to pause here. Right, just make a quick comment. Anybody reading along with us will notice that I changed some of the words. Why? Because of the associations and the implications. One, Don Juan uses he, and this comes up later in the book. Scholar says, what about women? He says, well, I'm talking to you. You're a man and I'm a man. That's why I use the masculine. Right? And also, they are talking in Spanish. And Spanish, the masculine gender, it changes the words, right? You have to... Anyway, so it's a little more complicated. Nonetheless, I don't want to perpetuate inadvertent misogyny, which is just defaulting to, when you're talking about mankind, you say man. You talk about humans, you say man. No, that kind of stuff. And always saying he. No, I don't want to perpetuate that. It's a bad habit, right? So you hear us say they instead of he. Also, I say spirit warrior instead of warrior. Why? Because over time, this association with warrior, people, it's too much baggage with it to assume it's got to do with fighting and violence. No, this is the point of the warriors, because they represent impeccability and integrity and discipline and thoroughness and all of the things that go into way of impeccability, which is the program that we run, Beena and I, right, and that are put together. This is a different, there we use the term spirit warrior, to keep that positive warrior side, but obviously a spirit warrior is not one that's engaged in violence, right? So we'll hear the change this. And likewise, where Don Juan says sorcery, I think, did I read sorcery or did I read moreness, right? Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, no, we haven't read this yet, yeah, right? I don't know,
Okay.
did I? I don't know. I think I scrolled accidentally, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so again, sorcery is a poor term, and it's not really what Don Juan means. He means moreness, and he doesn't really have a word for it. And he says later on, well, I don't really have a good word for this, right? So we're going to replace it with moreness, right? Or Moreness-Culture, right? Or the pursuit of moreness, right? It's a much better meaning. So we adapt this. Why? Because our shows, our lives are about Moreness-Culture. And we are doing a capital R reading of this, which means we are reading this in order to connect and apply Moreness-Culture to it, and to connect it again to Moreness-Culture, right? And it's all part of Moreness-Culture. And this changing of it it's not a disrespect to that. We are doing it because it is adding to Moreness-Culture. Right? So it's part of Moreness-Culture to do this. And you'll see many times we get into the deep discussions, which is, again, we are finding the Moreness, we are connecting the Moreness, we are extending this, we are looking at the context, we're looking at implications, which may or may not be meant by the author, right? Again, Carlos misses sometimes what Don Juan says, and we're going to connect to what Don Juan is saying, even though Carlos is not aware of it. He reports Don Juan's words, but he doesn't get Don Juan's meaning. We extract that Moreness, right? Make sense? So, brilliant, brilliant. All right.
Yes.
You continue here, please, Beena, and then, we'll read again like we normally do. So from Don Juan stopped, yeah.
Okay.
Right, so we're talking about, so
Don
the
Juan
next
is.
thing one needs to be a warrior. Oh, sorry, I just want to read that last part to pick up where we were again, because we're starting a new topic now, this topic of
Mhm.
detachment. So the next thing one needs to be a spirit warrior is detachment, capital D, detachment. The idea of imminent death, instead of becoming an obsession, becomes an indifference.
Don Juan stopped talking and looked at me. He seemed to be waiting for a comment. Do
Do
you
you
understand?
understand?
Mm. I understood what he said, but I personally could not see how anyone could arrive at a sense of detachment. I said that from the point of view of my own apprenticeship, I had already experienced the moment when knowledge became such a frightening affair. I could also truthfully say that I no longer found support in the ordinary premises of my daily life, and I wanted, or perhaps even more than wanted, I needed to live like a warrior.
Like a spirit warrior, right? Remember, we're going to change warrior to spirit
To
warrior.
live like a street
Right?
warrior.
Yeah, because that's the full meaning of warrior here, right? Spirit warrior. Because that's what they engaged in. They engage, or you could say a mourners warrior too. But spirit will come big time into it later on, right? So I'm pulling from later to bring it now, so we don't have these build up these misassociations. And they're all about connecting to spirit, living in tune with spirit, living in harmony with spirit, right? Finding the spirit in things. Lots of things to do with spirit, right? In the broadest sense, and you can relate and connect to spirit any way you want. So spirit warrior becomes very, very appropriate. And of course, a spirit warrior can't be full of nonsense. They can't be indulgent. They can't be petty. They can't be childish. They can't be egotistical. I mean, you're dealing with spirit. You can't have any of that nonsense, right? So by implication, we hear way of impeccability when we say spirit warrior. But a warrior, they can be mean and nasty and cruel and vicious and brutal. They can also be
Oh,
disciplined and have integrity and be thorough and right and have impeccability. Can go either way. Spirit warrior kind of nixes the negative warrior, right? It insists on making it the positive warrior, right? Beena?
mm. Yes.
I mean, you know the term, but you see why we are changing it, yes? All right.
Yes.
All right. Now you must detach yourself.
From what?
Detach yourself from everything.
That's impossible. I don't want to be a hermit.
To be a hermit is an indulgence, and I never meant that. A hermit is not detached, for he willfully abandons himself to being a hermit. Please stop and pause and share your thoughts here, because the communication here is sophisticated, but also not as clear as it might be. We have to think about what's being said. We have to process this to make it our own and understand it, because it's not readily apparent, right? So does this make
Yes.
sense to you? A hermit is not attached because for he willfully abandons himself to being a hermit. Or they.
Yes.
For they. Huh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Only the idea of death makes a person sufficiently detached so they are incapable of abandoning themselves to anything. Only the idea of death makes a man sufficiently detached so they can't deny themselves anything. A person of that sort, however, does not crave, for they have acquired a silent lust for life and for all things of life. They know their death is stalking them and won't give them time to cling to anything, so they try, without craving, all of everything. A detached person who knows they have no possibility of fencing off their death, has only one thing to back themselves with: the power of their decisions. They have to be, so to speak, the mistress of their choices. They must fully understand that their choices are their responsibility, and once they make it, there is no longer time for regrets or recriminations. Their decisions are final, simply because their death does not permit them time to cling to anything. And thus, with an awareness of their death, with their detachment, and with the power of their decisions, a spirit warrior sets their life in a strategical manner. The knowledge of the death guides them and makes them detached and silently lusty. The power of their final decisions make them able to choose without regrets. And what they choose is always strategically the best. So they perform everything they have to do with gusto and lusty efficiency. When a person behaves in such a manner, one may rightfully say they are a spirit warrior and have acquired patience.
Don Juan asked me if I had anything to
Whoa,
say,
whoa, let's
and I.
wait. Whoa, Beena, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's. I think we need to reread this whole paragraph again, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let me just stop the share there, because before we go further, that's now Carlos is going to get into his wanting to have it in exact things that he can just take on and accept without thinking about it himself, right? So we're going to get into Carlos's nonsense of processing this now, right? But let's just go over this whole point, right? Uh,
Yes.
yeah, about detachment. Well, I want to add it to our quote file as well, right? I mean, there's a lot here, yeah, yeah. I'll just put the whole long paragraph in, and just in the interest of time, yeah. But what do you think here, Beena? For me personally, this is something that I worked on quite assiduously. I worked on patients before I encountered Don Juan. It was a very big deal in my life, right? And at the time, I didn't think of it and conceive of it quite in this way. Yeah. So when I encountered this, I'm like, oh, this is very cool, and and also the detachment was something I struggled to conceptualize. But patience, this I could grab, this I could understand. Also about the decision making, and that silent lust for life. You have a lust for life, but you don't necessarily crave anything. You don't really have any motivations, but the lust for life is the enjoyment without desire. Does that make sense, Beena?
Yes.
It does. And personally, I can really attest and strongly state that this is a most potent way to be. Yes. You don't crave things, you don't desire them necessarily, but you enjoy everything. Because so the moment you start craving and desiring things, you also start to select things. Yeah, because we
Yes.
don't desire everything, we don't crave everything. I mean, you could, I suppose, technically, but then you can also get a bit overwhelmed, because what do I go for first? And you start ranking and hierarchy, and that's the problem with favorites. The moment you have favorites, you devalue everything else by implication, right? Our brains do this. That's the problem with desire. The moment you desire things, everything else loses its value. We don't always know where the value lies.
Mm.
And of course, in Moreness-Culture, we say you don't need to know, because there's Moreness in absolutely everything. Now, here's the key. Yeah, but what do I connect with? What do I choose? When you live in attunement, it will be chosen for you. You will know, obviously, you're connecting, you're attuned, and it just comes, it's there. So what is brought into your life, this is the moreness that you enjoy. You don't have to go looking, you don't have to go running after it. It comes to you. Yes. Now, sometimes you are asked to make an effort, and then you do. Well, if you ask to make an effort, you do. This is the magic of attunement and living in oneness. It is the most incredible, incredible thing. I don't have to have desires and cravings. Why? Because the attunement, it connects me to what is appropriate. And because I'm able to enjoy pretty much anything, I can find the oneness in anything. Yeah. Because I can find the goodness, even if it's not nice, and the goodness is the moreness, right? So I'm able to, and I enjoy the goodness. So even if it's like whatever, I can still enjoy it, right? I can get value and usefulness and moreness out of it, and this is a most incredible, incredible, incredible skill. I mean, I cannot emphasize how incredibly potent and powerful this skill is. Yes, it is absolutely transformative, as you can imagine, because whatever comes your way, you enjoy it. You extract moreness out of it. It's the most fantastic thing, right?
Yes.
And now also,
Yes.
when you get to this point of, well, we'll read all this again, Beena, from yeah, from the
You're not
I
sharing
understood
history.
what you said. Oh, yeah, I'll share again. Right, sorry. Um, I want to. Where's my window now? Ah, there we go. It's just hiding behind the TikTok chat. This is a very, very important thing, because what we are sharing here is absolutely key to Way of Impeccability. Even though I don't, in Way of Impeccability, right, we don't necessarily use the concept of detachment. Why? Because detachment has a lot of baggage to it, much like Carlos struggles with this. I feel that you can simply focus on impeccability, focus on appropriateness, and it all falls into place, right? I didn't mention appropriateness earlier, but that was always my guiding point. It's so dear to me, I don't always mention it. This is about appropriateness of living. When you take it all the way to the end, you see, oh, to crave and lust and desire things, that's not appropriate. It's debilitating, because, well, until you get it, you're always in a state of wanting, which is a not positive state. With moreness shift, and you stop craving, you still enjoy everything, but you don't want anything. Wow. Wow. Okay. Now I don't spend time craving and desiring. I'm just always in the enjoying part, because I can, whatever's near me, whatever's around me, whatever I'm doing, whatever comes my way, I simply enjoy. Life is easy. Life is brilliant. Never mind, just easy. Right? Does this make sense, Beena? But also, I wanted to
Yeah.
point out about the choices. Right? When you make choices from which you can have no regrets, this is, or recriminations. This is impeccability. And we go into Way of Impeccability, that's very clearly pointed out there, right? And you understand the whole mechanism. This is incredibly powerful. This is absolutely incredibly powerful. So, and then patience too. Patience is a superpower, and because patience is an act of creation. It's not just waiting. True patience, you know what you're waiting for. You know why you are waiting, and now you use your will, as we said earlier, right? And so I've always said patience is a superpower, because you actually create the thing that you're waiting for, right? You build it. You build it with your intent and your will. So there's a lot in here to live by that's useful. So please read this again, Beena. Please read this again. You know, you're reading Carlos and Don Juan now. You're reading up all the way to patience, yeah?
Okay, from
From the top, I understood.
okay. Okay. I understood what he said, what he had said, but I personally could not see how anyone could arrive at a sense of detachment. I said that from the point of view of my own apprenticeship, I had already experienced the moment when knowledge or perceiving became such a frightening affair. I could also truthfully say that I no longer found support in the ordinary premises of my daily life. And I wanted, or perhaps even more than wanted, I needed to live like a warrior.
Spirit
Now
warrior.
you must detach yourself. From what? Detach yourself from everything. That's impossible. I don't want to be a hermit. To be a hermit is an indulgence, and I never meant that. A hermit is not detached, for he or for them, they will willfully abandon themselves to being a hermit.
Excellent.
Only the idea of death makes a man sufficiently detached to so he is incapable of abandoning
A
himself to
person, so
anything.
they,
Okay. Only the idea of death makes a person sufficiently detached so they are incapable of abandoning themselves to anything. Only the idea of death makes a person sufficiently detached. Oh, sorry, I'm reading it again.
oh, you're right,
Mm,
right, you're right,
Oh,
person. No,
oh,
no, no,
yeah.
he's repeating it. No, he's repeating it. You're
Wow, it
right,
is
you're right.
repeating it. Yes. Okay, I'm reading from the
Yeah,
beginning again. Only
yeah,
the
yeah.
idea of death makes a person sufficiently detached so he is incapable of abandoning themselves to anything. Only the idea of death makes a person sufficiently detached so they can't deny themselves anything. A man of that sort, however, does not crave, for they have acquired a silent lust for life and for all things of life. They know their death is stalking them and won't give them time to cling to anything, so they try, without craving, all of everything. A detached person who knows they have no possibility of fencing off their death has have only one thing to back themselves with: the power of their decisions. It has to be, so to speak. They have to be, so to speak, the master of their choices. They must fully understand that their choice is their responsibility, and once they makes it there is no longer time
They
for
make it.
regrets.
Yeah.
Yes?
But once they make it, there is no longer. Yeah, yeah. Okay, carry
Okay.
on.
Uh, and
There's
once
no longer
they
time
make it,
for regret.
yes. And once they make it, there is no longer time for regrets or recrimination. Their
Yeah.
decisions are final, simply because their death does not permit them time to cling to anything. And thus, with an awareness of their death, with their detachment, and with their power of their decisions, spirit warrior, sets their
Spirit
life
warrior. Mm.
strategical, strategical manner. The knowledge of their death guides them and makes them detached and silently sets their life. Okay, no, and silently lusty. This is
Yes,
clear?
lusty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The power of their final decisions make them able to choose without regrets, and what they choose is always strategically the and so they perform everything they have to with gusto and lusty efficiency. With a person, when a person behaves in such a manner, one may rightfully say that uh, they are a warrior and has acquired patience. You are
Spirit
not.
warrior. You keep forgetting the spirit warrior. It's very important. Very
Yes,
important. So
yes,
read that
yes.
sentence again, please. Read it again,
When a
please.
man behaves in such a manner, one may rightfully say
So
that
again, one more time.
uh,
One more time.
when a person behaves in such a manner, one may rightfully say that they are a spirit warrior and have acquired patience.
Yeah. When a
Don Juan
person
asks,
behaves in such a manner, one may rightfully say they are a spirit warrior and have acquired patience. See, I'm adding the drama to it, which that sentence appropriately requires, right?
yes,
It's a climax sentence. Yeah. I mean, really, there should be a paragraph, a big paragraph break there, if you ask me. Yeah, but okay, right? I mean, because this is a Don Juan is coming to the end of his whole sharing there, right? So it's when you read it just ordinary, when a person behaves in such a manner, we may rightfully say that they are a warrior, a spirit warrior, and have acquired patience.
I was
Yeah,
not
but
reading
when you
like
read it,
this.
no, I don't know you weren't. I'm making this the point from a capital R reading point of view, and
Yes,
just from
but I
reading
was
in
not adding
general.
drama also.
Right, right. So now let's read it because now I'm not. It's not so much drama. I'm adding it as the culmination, the climax of this long point. I'm indicating that this is wrapping it up now, right? So when a person behaves in such a manner, one may rightfully say they are a warrior and have acquired patience. See, there's that, you slow it down and you kind of break it up, and the emphasis is different. And you coming to the big climate, and have acquired patience, right? You're making sure that this is now very obviously the end, the termination of this whole point, right? And that it has import, right? This is I'm queuing to say, this is important, right? This is the wrapping up, and pay attention here. This is something profound, valuable, more. Yeah. It's a little,
Yes.
when you're reading things like this, it's a reading skill. Yeah, like when you're being a narrator or you're doing audiobooks or whatever, right? It's a very big deal. And it's huge though. But what do you think of all of this, Beena? What he's sharing here. I mean, this is a big deal, no?
It is a big deal. And
Yeah.
I don't know that how to how to share this, but precisely. But there is something uh, I have learned. This is right there. What he's saying is also about the antidote for the ambition part. Like always, like
Yeah.
striving for something. But on the other hand, he's also clarifying that detachment is not just like, okay, oh, you are going to be something else. That's the idea of hermit when he says that no, the hermit is being something else which you are not. But the detachment part is like stay the same who you are with complete self honesty and clarity, but
Yeah.
also having this ability that you understand the real value of things. Like the usual people, like
Yes.
common people like
Appropriateness, in
me.
other words.
Yes,
Appropriateness. Yeah.
a person like me who get like really excited about something that, oh yes, this is something very beautiful, like a new watch or a new dress, and we say that okay, this is so beautiful. It has something and all that. We get so much about it. We think about it. We have
Yeah.
set their intent. But once you wear it, and then now it's okay. Now the whole association new association is what I felt after wearing that. Like, okay, oh, I had that
Mm.
my tire puncture. Okay, so and like now it's not such a big deal. The dress I was really dying for, now it's okay. It's just part of my wardrobe now. And then okay, at
Yeah.
some point, of
Yeah.
course, it is going to be. But the whole time I was investing my energy and connecting my
Yeah.
energy and time to the intent to that particular thing. What's the real value? Yes, the joy I had, okay, fair enough,
Yeah.
it's okay, I had this joy. But was it really equivalent to what I have invested into
Equivalent.
this? Equivalent to
Equ-
what I have invested?
equivalent.
Equivalent of what I have
Mm.
invested? No. So what detachment part of for me, what I understand from this paragraph is not negating anything, but to understand
Correct.
the real lasting value of anything in your life.
Yes,
That's
Bina.
it.
Yes, Bina. Yes, Bina. And to connect and extract the moreness, to take joy out of
Yes.
things. And it's
Yes.
perspective shifting. In Way of Impeccability, there are two core, essential, critical tools. One is perspective shifting to multiple perspectives, and the other is thinking things through to the end. Very critical to do that to the end. Now, in perspective shifting, when we look at life, yes, and
Mhm.
we look at how we typically go through life. We have our agenda, which is a desire, and we go about that.
Mhm.
All right, so let's say I want to go and do shopping or whatever it is. I'm going somewhere, and I go to my car and I've got a flat wheel. Ah, come on, seriously, what are you doing to me? I'm in a hurry. My life is busy. I can't have this. But now let's perspective shift on that. When you look at your own life from a overview perspective, right? Let's just assume that you're your own angel, right? Just for argument's sake.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily say you have to believe in angels. I don't mean it in a religious sense, but some being that's looking out for you and taking care of you. And as an angel, I punctured your tire and I made it go flat. Well, why did I do that? Because as the angel, I can see what's coming. I can see the flow of events. And I knew that if you'd driven right then, there was the speeding car that came out of nowhere and you would have had a car accident. So the puncture prevented you from getting that puncture because I changed the timing of your life ever so slightly. My point here is, now if you were aware of this, how would you react to your puncture? You say, oh God, thank you so much for puncturing my tire. Oh gosh, yeah. See?
Wow. Yes.
Different perspective. So now what I'm trying to say, when life brings you inconvenience, Moreness and Moreness-Culture says, look at it differently, perspective shift. Assume there's a good reason for it that you're unaware of. Right? And the universe is helping you out. Yeah? And now
Mm.
you're appreciative and you say, wow, okay, cool. I'm being paused here for a good reason. Yeah. I can't see
Yes.
everything and I need to have this pause. Yeah? And it's very hard for me to just say, well, how would I just know? Even if I had an inkling that something was going to happen, to just sit there and do nothing and wait for 5 or 10 minutes or however long it takes to take the tire, this is almost impossible for me to do. So I have to be forced to do it. Isn't that interesting? Interesting.
Yes.
So again, it goes into this that you were saying, that we are learning to enjoy everything and to see it as appropriate. And that's moreness. When we realize that everything is there for our benefit, for our value, it's incredible, right? Absolutely incredible.
Incredible.
All right.
Incredible. Yes. This is what
Yes.
actually taking your power back to yourself. Don't fall
Exactly.
into any negativity and
Exactly.
just, okay, oh, it is happening for a
Exactly.
reason and I have this ability
Exactly.
to change my
Exactly.
perspective. So now I'm taking my power back from
Yes.
circumstances to ruin my
Yes.
day or time and drain me out
Yes.
of energy and bring me down with the negativity and all sort of
Right.
things.
Right.
But now I'm taking my
Oh.
power back and shifting it to, okay, now really the real abracadabra there, that yes, I'm going to shift it. So no
Right.
one can
Right. Right.
actually be a captain of my ship. I'm the only one.
Right. Right. It's a very crucial point. And also, I want to really make a point here. This is something that I've known for a very long time in my life. Do I always practice it? No. Why not? I know it intimately. I practice it very often, but not always. I get distracted by nonsense sometimes, and I fall into behaving foolishly that I know is foolish, and I go against my own understanding, my own awareness, my own knowledge. Why? Habit. Yeah?
Ah,
Habit is a major, major force. And it pulls us getting rid of our old selves. Once those habits get entrenched, your brain is trained that way. And it takes a lot to retrain the brain over time, right? To literally rewire it. It's wired to do these things, and we have to learn to rewire it, right? So habit is the big deal. And that's why we have to be vigilant, because these things got entrenched early on in our lives when it was new, and the emphasis was incredibly powerful because it was in a vacuum. We had nothing, right? So anything that was said to us was basically emphasis. Anything that we came across wired the brain. Yeah, but we don't have that same energy. It's not that big a deal. So we don't have emphasis to rewire the brain, because emphasis does rewire the brain. But we can, at the same time, rewire the brain through repetition. The brain will also pay attention. Wow, they've been doing this over and over again. It must be important. And then it's emphasis that's spread out. Repetition is spread out emphasis, right? So after a while, the brain says, okay, okay, I hear you. This is important. Yeah? And it
yes.
changes. Yeah, absolutely critical. Absolutely critical. Beena, that just makes me wonder now. I made that the enemies of awareness, right?
Mm.
And I'm pretty sure I put habit in there, but I just want to check now if I did put that in there or not. Yeah.
Mm.
Uh, no, I did not. Yeah. Yeah. Which is absolutely crucial. It's absolutely crucial. So the enemies of awareness: fear, sadness, anger, self-importance, clarity, power, and assumption. Where does habit go in? I would say probably right even before fear, no? Because we're in the habit of feeling fear. If you're aware of habit, then, you can deal with fear a lot easier, correct? When you say, oh,
Yes.
I'm just in the habit of being fearful. I'm in the habit of being sad. I'm in the habit of being angry. Yeah. You see, self-importance, habit, clarity. Okay, the power, those two don't quite get into habit, but assumption, also habit. Yes. Well, clarity, we're in the habit of thinking the way we think, which puts us in a bubble. And we're in the habit of being greedy for power. And so habit is like, I mean, you could boil it all down to just the enemies of awareness is habit, right? Very powerful
Yes.
quote there. Very powerful quote there. All right, so I want to have this. Well, I'll screen share again, but I want to leave this emphasized so that it's you can read it on the video, right? Not just hear it, because it's super 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 important and powerful, massively so. All right, let's continue reading. There's a bit more I want to read here. So you see, I just wanted to have this the quote showing emphasized so that we can read it. Also, you can pause the video and reread it, right? For anybody who is serious about changing who they are, this is what I'm doing it for. That's what, at least I'm sharing how I would like it. All right, okay. All right, so let's continue reading here, please. Beena, will you read, and then I'll read Don Juan again. Yeah, Don Juan asked me.
Okay. Don Juan asked me if I had anything to say, and I remarked that the task he had described would take a lifetime. He said I protested too much in front of him, and that he knew I behaved, or at least tried to behave, in terms of a spirit warrior in my day to day life. Sorry.
You have pretty good claws. You do. Show them to me from time to time. It's good practice.
I made a gesture of applause and growled, and he laughed. Then he cleared his throat and went on talking.
When a spirit warrior has acquired patience, they are on their way to will. They know how to wait. Their death sits with them on their mat. They are friends. Their death advises them in mysterious ways how to choose, how to live strategically, and the spirit warrior waits. I would say that the spirit warrior learns without any hurry because they know they are waiting for their will, and one day they succeed in performing something ordinarily quite impossible to accomplish. They may not even notice their extraordinary deed, but as they keep on performing impossible acts, or as impossible acts keep happening to them, they become aware that a sort of power is emerging, a power that comes out of their body as they progress on the path of knowledge and learning in the path of moreness. At first, it is like an itching on the belly, or a warm spot that cannot be soothed. Then it becomes a pain, great discomfort. Sometimes the pain and discomfort are so great that the warrior has convulsions for months. The more severe the convulsions, the better for them. A fine power is always heralded by a great pain. Let's just pause right here. Let's just pause right
Yes.
here. What do you make of this, Beena? I want your reactions before you read on, right?
The first thing I was like, in the beginning, I was like, okay, yes, something, okay, maybe I would love to do that. And then he says that, okay, a fine power is always heralded by great pain.
All right, right. So right
Not
there,
agree with
right
that.
there.
Not agree.
Right, exactly. And I want to pause right there because I have read these multiple times, many times, and I already know Don Juan's style of communication. Remember, it's purpose-driven for Carlos. But not only that, in this case, I don't necessarily think this is specifically purposely focused on Carlos. But Don Juan will make absolute statements that turn out not to be so, as we are about to see. Yeah? It's really fascinating. It's really fascinating. So we have to take Don Juan's assertions with a little bit of a grain of salt sometimes. It's more for dramatic effect, I think, or a fine power is always heralded by a great pain. But that doesn't mean that a great pain is always necessary for a great power. It's just the peculiarity of Don Juan's expressions. Not that he's being inaccurate, really. It's just the way he says things, and we have to be aware of this. There's some kind of a translation error here somewhere. All right, let's continue. When the convulsions cease, the spirit warrior notices they have strange feelings about things. They notice that they can actually touch anything they want with a feeling that comes out of their body from a spot right below or right above their navel. That feeling is their will. And when they are capable of grabbing with it, one can rightly say that the warrior is a sorcerer. All right, so yeah, sorcerer, I don't know what a replacement for sorcerer is. A person of knowledge, or I think a spirit warrior is probably a better way, but I don't think this is absolutely crucial to being a spirit warrior. It isn't. So it's not necessarily something that's inherent to sorcery either. So uh, I would say that that the spirit warrior is on a path to moreness. That's the only way I could read that. So all right, now let's say that feeling is the will, and when they are capable of grabbing with it, one can rightfully say that the spirit warrior is on the path to greater moreness or even more moreness, and that they have acquired will. I mean, we could just leave out that sorcerer part. One can rightfully say that the spirit warrior has acquired will. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the sorcery thing is complicated to explain. I've explained it many times. It's a subsection that's part of Don Juan's lineage, but we don't need to go there, right? And will isn't only part of the sorcery, but the sorcery is something that can be left out, and will belongs to the other part, right? The moreness part, right? It is a moreness acquirement and ability. We have to be very careful with these powers. Yeah? I remember this from all my studies of Buddhism. There's a fantastic a book. It's called Buddhist Scriptures by Christmas Humphreys. I've mentioned this in other lives many times. Very, very potent book, yes. And don't be put off that it's by Christmas Humphreys. He was a really incredible Buddhist scholar. And basically it's a book of lists of, the 9 points of this, the 8 points of this, the 10, anyway. So this was a list of the powers of a lesser, I'm trying to think what it was, a lesser mage or a lesser something like that, right? But anyway, so, but the point was, and in these powers, it mentioned the all-seeing eye, the all-hearing ear, and walking on water. These were the powers of a lesser, I think the word was mage, but it may have been lesser something else, right? In other words, or you could say a lesser sorcerer or a lesser warrior. The point they were making is, if you want to get to enlightenment, to nirvana, don't be sidetracked by these powers. Yes, they may be a big deal, but so what?
Wow.
You're still not in enlightenment, you're still not at nirvana, right? So let's just put will into that same category. Is it good to have? Is it nice to have? Is it wonderful to have? Yes. Can it potentially detract and distract you from your total goal of ultimate freedom? Yes. See? Be very, very careful of these powers. We just put that into context. Yes, I love that list because, it was the walking on water and the all-seeing eye and the all-hearing ear. It's like, holy moly, I mean, these are like superpowers. Yeah, but they were of a lesser mage, yeah, or a lesser wizard or a lesser whatever, right? It was just a stepping stone. Don't get distracted. All right, keep going, please, Beena.
Okay.
Okay,
Where it
I
is?
think we end it here. I think we end it here
Okay.
because now he's going
Okay.
to get into another whole different section. It's still related, but it's a new story, right? I mean, he's going to talk about his experience of will and that of his benefactor and so on. So we'll end it here. We'll end it here. That's a good place to end it, right? And since the
Yes.
timing is right. All right, brilliant, brilliant. I love
Yes.
this. I love this. So again,
Yeah.
I want to be really both perceiving and will. are superpowers, but we have to be extraordinarily careful of superpowers. Take the superheroes. Yeah,
Yes.
in the superhero universe, you've got the good guys and the bad guys. Yeah, and the bad guys also have superpowers. Having superpowers does not guarantee that you're going to be a good guy, right?
Hmm. Yes.
Just remember that. Just remember that. Neither does superpowers actually guarantee that you will be heroic. Take away the superpower and now do what you're going to do and see if you're going to do it in the same way. If you don't have those superpowers, you might not be doing those things. Or the fact that you have the superpower, oh, look at Superman, he saves the Lois Lane from the burning building. Does this take any effort from him? He flies up and he grabs her and he flies. Big deal. It's nothing to him. There's nothing heroic about that. It's just ordinary for him, right? Nothing heroic at all. Yeah. Heroic is going above and beyond. My point is that the superpowers doesn't mean that you have moreness. This means you have a superpower. Okay? Don't confuse the two. Superpowers are not moreness. I mean, in a way, yes, but not what we are focusing on moreness, right? Which is depth of self, depth of character. Yes, ability to use your own self without the powers. That's moreness, yes, and to be able to connect to that. Yes, you can say yes, the superpowers are moreness, but they are dangerous moreness, like any power, because this moment power comes into it, yeah, is it really moreness or is it just power, right? Moreness to me is not necessarily power. Yes, it's tricky. It can be, it can be, but it can be, not necessarily is. Right? So to me, I'm very cautious of acquiring these things. Very, very cautious. I'm more than cautious. I would say if I have to choose, I would say, well, I'd rather get to the end without these because they're very dangerous. And I know my own nature. I know that the temptation that these things present can easily subvert you and topple you and take you off your path. Yes? Makes sense, Beena?
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, we end it there for today. We end it there for today.
Yes.
We end
Okay.
it there
Thank you
for today.
everyone for joining us, especially TikTok people because we see a lot of people there. We are
Yes. And
dining
there's a
into.
lot on Instagram today also, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh
Lawson
yes, I'm
joined
also on
us
Instagram.
and Tulu Makawa Kongwamba. Man, I hope I'm saying your name right, but it's at Tukuman Kongwangwa. Konkwaba. That's a hell of a name. Tuluman. Tuluman Konkwaba. There we go. Now I got it right. Tuluman Konkwaba. And Lawson the poet. Hey, Lawson. I know Lawson from long time back. And Sabina Roth, photography. So a lot of people joined us on Instagram too. Yeah, very cool, very cool. I love it. I love it that you guys all, yeah, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Sorry,
It's a
Bina,
big
to
deal.
interrupt
Thank you
you
so
there.
much
Go
for
ahead, go
joining
ahead.
us. No problem, no problem. Thank you so much for joining us. And please, you are all most welcome to leave a comment here and ask questions because this is
Always,
very important. It's a
always.
big deal for us. It is a very big deal for
Yeah,
us that if anyone is going to leave us a comment, add moreness here because by doing so, you are going
oh,
to
yeah,
actually add moreness
oh, yeah,
not only to
oh, yeah.
this life but also to our awareness. Maybe you will share a new
Yes,
perspective, a
yes,
new understanding for us. So please do leave a comment. And if you have
yeah,
a question,
yeah,
like anything, please do ask. And we would love to receive love notes from the universe because
yeah.
every question is a love letter from the universe for us. And we are so keen to receive that. Thank you so much, everyone. Please do pay attention to your online and offline algorithms because by investing your energy there, you are a contributor. Please contribute only into valuable
Yeah,
and good
yeah,
things and nice things in life. Don't just
yeah.
spend your energy like okay randomly, not thinking about it. Re- Energy and focus and attention is the new currency. Please do pay attention to that and choose wisely. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We will
Oh,
see you
yeah,
guys tomorrow, same time, same place.
yeah,
Bye for now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye. All right, there we go. It's ended. And that one. Yeah, I have to click three ends to end everything. And